Well, speaking of Russia investigations, that is the charge of Special Counsel Robert Mueller, and it was a referral from Robert Mueller to federal prosecutors in New York that ultimately resulted in that raid yesterday, that FBI raid on President Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, in 3 separate locations here in New York. Much was said by the president, even on Twitter this morning, about what he thinks about that. He was asked about firing Bob Mueller. Do you think that that is a possibility? And he went after Jeff Sessions again in his recusal from this. Where do you think Jeff Sessions stands as our attorney general at this point?
First of all, I think Jeff Sessions is doing a good job, even though on some issues I very dramatically disagree with him. We've got 3 cabinet people to approve now. We may even have a Supreme Court justice down the road a few months. The president shouldn't be overburdening Congress with finding a new attorney general and going through that. Particularly when the Democrats on every nomination comes up, they filibuster it, so it takes 30 hours to get through one of these. So I hope not. But I hope the main thing here is that I have confidence in Mueller. The president ought to have confidence in Mueller. And I think, to answer your question, it would be suicide for the president to want to talk about firing Mueller. The less the president said on this whole thing, the better off he would be, the stronger his presidency would be. And I think that maybe Mueller coming to a dead end as far as collusion of Trump with Russia in this election, and it looks like a dead end, maybe Mueller would appreciate being fired, so he would have an excuse for getting out of it, and the Democrats would have a good issue in this upcoming election.
Right. And I just point out, Senator Grassley, Chairman Grassley, just one thing, that the individual, the interim U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, shepherding this investigation, and also then the FBI Director, Christopher Wray, those are individuals appointed by President Trump.
Well, they have to do their job regardless of what president appoints them. They're in the front lines of seeing that the law is enforced, and that's what we all ought to expect out of everybody in the Department of Justice and the FBI, to make sure the law is carried out. We don't know enough about this raid yet to know for sure why, but it looks to me like the only real issue is the extent to which lawyer-client relationship between Cohen and Trump might be violated, and I'm sure that the judge that gave the order that this raid could be made would be confident that that would not be an issue. If it is an issue, and with the privacy of the president in this regard, they surely wouldn't want to go down that road.
Senator, great to see you as always. Senator Chuck Grassley, thank you so much for being here. He's going to have a busy afternoon. We can't wait to watch. Take care.